Hello everyone, welcome to Coffee with Pascal. Today we'll have an interview with Pascal, the CEO and founder of Recyclium. Pascal is a serial entrepreneur from Switzerland, and currently he's endeavoring on the path to found Recyclium, a pioneering solution designed to address the global challenge of single-use plastic waste by tracking products and recyclables and allowing them to be returned to producers and, well, fairly rewarding collectors. So welcome, Pascal.
Thank you very much, Oliver, for having me here. It's a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to speak a bit more about Recyclium, our latest venture.
Cool. So kicking off, what inspires you to build Recyclium?
You know, Oliver, I'm most and foremost a loving father from an 8-year-old daughter, and I'm as well a passionate diver. So I was privileged to meet all the oceans in the world. Almost diving since more than 20 years. I've seen magnificent beauty in the oceans and around the oceans, but as well I have seen the devastating pollution under the water and of course on the beaches. So that inspired me a lot already in the past 20 years to clean up the oceans, clean up beaches. Whenever I meet some trash and garbage, I try to address this topic at least with my own efforts, and the same I tried to deliver to my daughter. So as she was, I think, 3-4 years old, we already started to clean up waste on the beaches or in the forests. And there was a moment what really affected me a lot. My daughter went to children's garden and they had a day in the forest, so they made the forest walk, and my daughter started to collect trash, like small plastic pieces in the forest, and took them with her in her rucksack. Next time they went with their teacher on a forest day, the teacher took trash bins with her, and the whole children's garden was cleaning up the forest on that afternoon, just side by side here and there, bringing some trash back home. And she came home and told me this with a huge smile, and she was proud, and I was of course even much more proud about that, hearing that the incentive and the message I delivered to my daughter in a very early stage of her life could manifest in her motivating other people, collecting trash and seeing this environment as precious as it is. And I think that was the biggest inspiring for me to do a project with a real impact, trying to chase one of the biggest problems on our planet right now.
Incredible, Pascal. So was this the very first moment where you actually thought about building something like Recyclium?
No, obviously not. I mean, that was not the incentive for the project itself. The incentive came a bit later. As you know, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I have been participating in various ventures and investing in companies as well, mostly with sustainable effort. And I think the key moment was before the COVID pandemic. Like 4 months before that, I invested in a biotech company in Germany who owns the patent on a sustainable diagnostics. So they provide rapid diagnostic tests built out of cardboard, which is an incredible patent. And I was investing in this company. 4 months later, COVID hit our planet. So I thought, wow, that's the jackpot. Sadly, we were not able to manufacture in that short period a big enough amount of diagnostic kits to really prevent the world from even more pollution. But I think this was one of the key factors. So I was always looking for companies and ventures with the right scope in sustainability, dove deeper into ESG thematics. So I saw as well the uprising topic of ESG, which actually resulted out of the SDGs provided by the UN. And I understood that these regulations, that this pathway is getting more and more tight over time. Of course, the COVID pandemic put a huge scratch in this great pathway the planet has been going, and the regulations. While the pandemic, we produced billions of devices and plastic products for doing that diagnostics, which of course hurt me a lot, seeing how we move and drift away actually from the current already great pathway. And as I wasn't able to manage to bring that patent out in big scale, I had over that time the idea of pushing forward stronger in the ESG thematics and providing a solution for big companies to collect real tangible data. On one hand, I had as well the pleasure and the big honor to meet a few remarkable people out of the blockchain industry over that time. I, of course, did myself a few investments, my gains, my losses, more losses than gains, obviously. But what was sticking in my mind was these two particular points which blockchain really make. Yeah? So data provided or secured on blockchain have these two major advantages. They are on one hand unerasable, and they are unchangeable, this data. So these two topics, and I'm really not a tech guy, but these two topics sticked in my mind, combined with the need of undeniable data in terms of ESG reporting, which is getting more tight over time in Europe and soon all over the world. There came the third particular topic. I was moving to Germany and living there for some time, and saw the bounty system which they provide in Germany itself, how people collect single-use plastic bottles, they return them, so it's a well-known, worldwide known bounty system for single-use plastic bottles. And that incentivized me actually to the third pillar of Recyclium, the bounty system itself. So I was diving there as well a bit deeper and understood that people are ready and willing to collect the bottles for a small incentive. We're speaking about a very wealthy country in Germany, but 25 cents seem to be enough that people collecting the bottles rather than putting them in the environment or even in another trash bin. So if you have like 10, 20, 30 bottles suddenly, and each is a value of 25 cents, so you get a few euros out of one bag of single-use plastic bottles, and that seemed to be enough. So as I dig deeper, I saw that this system was over decades performing, and we are now at a pace of 97% return rate all over Germany. And I have goosebumps every time I'm hearing and thinking about this number, because it's incredibly high. I mean, that this 97% means obviously everyone is returning its bottles, the richest and the poorest person on all the ends of the country. So I was thinking, if 25 cents is enough in Germany, what do we need in Africa, in India, in these countries who have really issues with pollution of their environment, their landfills, rivers and oceans, of course. And then Recyclium actually was born. So we combine blockchain technology, providing clean and undeniable data for big corporates to prove their achievements in terms of ESG reportings, and combine this with an incentive, and I believe it needs an incentive, it's the only answer, to actually mobilize the whole world, hopefully the whole world, to collect and return the waste actually which they consumed. And that's how Recyclium was born, yeah.
Yeah, that's very interesting and very fascinating, I would say.
Thank you.
About this incentive system, how does it actually work?
I mean, the incentive system works particularly very simple. I mean, what we need to do is providing people an incentive in form from cash money, that they are ready to not just bring that product into the trash bin, rather bring it really back to the store or to a company. Excuse me. So the main issue is how to get a bounty all over the globe, right? How to transfer a small macro or micro transaction to Africa or to India, because if I transfer 3 cents by a bank transfer, that won't be as easy, of course, on one hand. So I think the digital currencies provide us here a huge potential. That's a momentum which hasn't been here 3 years ago or 5 years ago, but it's now. So people are today not having internet access, they often don't have a bank account maybe, or cash money to transmit is quite difficult about corruption purposes as well. But people having a mobile phone and an internet connection, they can create a wallet and they can receive funds right away. And the idea is actually that the big corporates are placing a unique QR code on their products, can be a single-use plastics bottle, and if someone consumed that incredible product, let's take a Coke bottle, and they will see a QR code on this bottle where it's written "scan me" and receive your bounty. So they will obviously scan that QR code in hopefully almost every case, and they will download our application. The Recyclium application is for free, of course, and they will see in the application, oh wow, I'm getting 2, 3, 5 cents for this bottle if I'm returning it. Now, where to return it? In the same application, on the same screen, you have a geo-tracking, geolocation, where you're at the moment at, and it will show you the stores who are able and capable to take this bottle back. As well, people who are collecting bottles can as well register themselves as storers. So if someone has split place in his backyard or in his garage for 5,000 or 500 bottles, whatever is the amount, they can register themselves. So we will have pop-ups of various storers all over the globe, I hope. And that's the place where you then bring your bottle and you scan this bottle. It's registered on your own wallet. So in this moment, you claim that bottle and that mission. You return it to the specific place shown in your application. And in this moment, already your task as a collector is actually provided. The collector, the storer who is then receiving various bottles, someone is as well full of his stash. So he said, I collect 1,000 bottles, someone the 1,000 are achieved. And in this moment, when the 1,000 bottles are achieved, Recyclium has of course a notification and can provide this data to Coca-Cola or the producer himself and organize a transfer to the next recycling facility or back even in the production chain to the bottling company, where a new bottle will be produced or a glass bottle can be washed and refilled. So we can track the proof that the consumer returned that bottle to a specific place, and at the end, from this specific place, it returned back to the producer himself or to a recycling facility. And like this, we close the loop, and all this data, each time the bottle is scanned and transacted, these transactions are saved and secured in a blockchain. And this is of course giving the undeniable proof at the end of the day to the corporates that they can showcase what they really have done. The bounty will be transferred in the moment you collect the bottle and bring it to the store. Half of the bounty will be transferred right away, and the other half of the bounty will be transferred to the store and to the collector in a split after the products are really returned back to the producer. So we incentivize them right away, but as well there is coming like an add-on after the stash is completed and returned. That's the idea of Recyclium.
Yeah, all right. What's really interesting to me is, given the, how fast the digital currency space evolves, how do you guys navigate through this uncertainty?
It's a very good question, and many investors asking me the same question, obviously. I have here to say I want to make sure we speak about the same topic. So we are speaking about using blockchain technology to guarantee the security and the undeniable proof of data. We are not working in the crypto space. So crypto and blockchain are two totally different topics in and of itself. I believe the crypto market has been, moving a lot. It gave a lot of gains to many people, a lot of hope to various people, and of course, as you say, a huge skepticism in the corporate world. And that's why I would never provide a kind of a Recyclium token or something to transact this money. We obviously use digital currencies to transfer the bounty, but we are using stablecoin transactions. So that's the only reason why we do it, is the cheaper transaction fees, of course. So we can transact micro and macro transactions all over the globe within seconds. That's a benefit which we wouldn't have with normal bank transfer or fiat currencies. But obviously we are not using any speculative asset from the crypto market. All we do is using the blockchain technology in and of itself, which is not related directly to crypto.
Yeah, but very exciting to hear how you guys actually try to utilize the best parts of the blockchain technology in this system, which is very exciting. However, some people might wonder, how the app on its own can make such an impact, so that it's really solving the plastic pollution problem globally.
I think we have to be clear on that point. An app in and of itself is not able to make that change. But I believe the vision of a system globally adaptive on almost every industry, for any corporation producing goods and products, providing these goods in a good manner to all of us humans, and we like to enjoy them, we like to use them. But the momentum built up right now by using latest technology on one hand and giving all these corporates actually this what they really need, tangible, undeniable data to prove that they have done achievements towards a more sustainable, more circular economic behaviors in the corporate world. That's a momentum has never been here. And we need, obviously, all the people around. We need this technical advantage, this adoption in more countries than just a few areas in the world. And this is happening right now over the past few years massively, even in very remote places like, for example, Nigeria. And I believe if we can incentivize people and make them understand, building the awareness that trash or waste in and of itself is not just waste, it has its value. And if we give it that value, we can really hope on participating of all humans, or at least a big part, a major part of the humanity, helping transferring that waste back where it belongs rather than put it in the landfills. And the corporates will play a key role. So as well, the corporates, as we see from all the big players, they're doing great actions. They take action, making beach cleanups, supporting in various regions to collect trash, but often mashed up with different brands, different colors. So it's quite hard to recycle these kind of products. The incentive and the idea, the targets are set by the big corps, being plastic neutral by 2030. Most of them have set such kind of targets, but they do quite hard to manage to fulfill these tasks. So Recyclium is building a platform and an instrument for these big corps, taking responsibility on one hand and going this next step, incentivizing people by proven bounty systems, because they obviously work in Germany, in the Netherlands, in Denmark. Various regions in the world use them, but they are often very cost intense, which is in Recyclium's place the total opposite. So it's a very, very cheap and affordable version for corporates, gaining reputation on one hand, and of course getting access to their raw materials. So this incentive for the people, I think, will change the direction, but it's just possible today with collaborating and big corps taking action and being the first, going that step and doing that on global scale. So altogether we can manage, I think.
All right. Well, I wish you all the success.
Thank you so much, Oliver.
But okay, like, you know, we talk about the technology, which is very exciting, and I do believe that it can play, like, you know, a big role in all of that. But one might ask, like, why did no one else did that before?
It's a good question. I mean, there is different parts to analyze in that manner. Obviously, as I mentioned already before, bounty systems are in place, they exist. So the big corps as well, humanity have seen that bounty systems work and they are successful. But as I mentioned as well, they are very cost intense. So the problem for now has been that such bounty systems for single-use plastics bottles, they were costing millions, if not billions, in a big country like Germany to maintain the machines who are taking that bottles and scanning the QR code or the EIN, GTIN codes and giving out at least a bounty in form of a ticket where you can buy new products in the store. We overcome with the technology, with the latest technology available today, so applications being built, data put in blockchain, which wasn't possible a few years ago, giving actually the corporate that value, what they really have, to have this tangible data and not being accused by doing greenwashing one more time by just cleaning up a beach which looks the same 3 months later, right? So the momentum has grown by various reasons, technologically and as well in the need of that data. And so without this latest technology and mixing of different APIs and technologies into one single solution at the right time, it hasn't been possible providing such a solution like 2 or 3 years ago, and that's why I believe no one yet did it. As well as I mentioned, in the history of the past few years of sustainability, we saw various distractions like COVID, pandemic, of course. We see wars happening all over the world. There's a lot of uncertainty in humanity and as well in the corporate world. Still, I believe companies need to go next step in tech. So blockchain is a major topic in each board meeting by all the big corps on one hand. And if they see the potential of this one application connecting all the momentums right now, I believe the path will be opened for the first big pilot projects, hopefully very soon.
Pascal, could you share with us a bit more about like current accomplishments of Recyclium? What stage are you at?
Very gladly. I mean, the vision of Recyclium was born like 12 months ago, I think, approximately. And in that 12 months, we could achieve quite a lot. So we were not only building one of the most significant board and teams, I think, in this 12 months. We have around 15 incredible individuals onboarded, from high executive levels until top-notch tech companies who are participating with Recyclium. At the beginning, just because they believe in the momentum, in the topic itself. They participate with tech parts and APIs which they were working years on and which were funded by millions of dollars. So we could engage all these people into a board, incentivizing them participating in the corporation itself, which is a move which let us even conclude the MVP phase. So we have the third version of a complete functional MVP. So the application is live, it works, it can be showcased, we can test it out without big funding needed at the beginning. But of course, even I'm myself investor in various companies, this task to do a global adaptive bounty system is too big for myself, and I first time stepped into looking for external investors, and of course reputation as well on that. And it was a difficult time, I have to say. It was a challenge, but I learned a lot. And we are happy to have closed our seed round now 3 weeks ago with the first big investor coming on board. So we are financially stable. We can now work on the real tech and finalize out of the MVP the ready, fully working solution in form of an application. The complete software, the blockchain part is built right now. The company is incorporated since about 1 week. So Recyclium AG is incorporated in Liechtenstein, which is of course having the perfect framework as well for a tech company like what we are. And we managed as well to, of course, speak in the meantime to a few hundred major people all over the world, investors, corporate partners. We were speaking to various big companies, key functions in them, and getting the insights that they really need a technology like Recyclium. Many informations were like, okay, if this technology is ready, you solve more than 3-4 of the major issues from big plastic producers in the world. So I'm looking very much forward now. The company is incorporated and the tech is going to be more and more concrete, ready to onboard the first pilot projects within the next few months. That's the target.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you very much. But we have a lot ahead of us, definitely.
Yeah, looking forward to that. You know, some people might have an impression listening to the speech about, like what kind of issues you're trying to actually solve. One of them is single-use plastics, and this is pretty clear to me. We're talking about, smaller bounties. What other problems, what other products can Recyclium help with?
I think that's the key point for the whole Recyclium story. My vision is having sooner or later in a grocery store almost every product wearing a QR code from Recyclium, and waste packaging materials being returned. So that doesn't stop by single-use plastic bottles or toothpaste tubes. It's going much further. So we have plenty of need, and corporate world has plenty of need getting their raw materials back. I mean, obviously seen as well by the Apple example. If you're buying a new Apple iPhone and you're returning your old iPhone in the Apple store, you get actually a bounty. They buy back your old phone because they need the spare parts in there and they are valuable for Apple. So they pay you 250, 300 euros or dollars, depending on the model, for returning that phone. So they showcase that even in the tech world, of course, there is a huge demand of having the raw materials back. And I see various big companies having this need, but looking maybe for the right solution technology, which is not even guaranteeing them having access to their raw materials, as well having the data with what they can manage, pushing their reputation, reporting to ESG obviously, and gathering data as well, where these products come from. So I see the tech industry, I see as well the cloth industry, which is a huge topic and a huge issue. We destroy and put lots of clothing in various countries, regions in the world, into the landfills. Shoes, I can imagine Nike, Adidas could have a huge interest getting back their products rather than having them destroyed in a garbage bin or in the landfills. So by reputation, literally every company who is big enough has interest in the reputation of working with Recyclium. there is an unlimited potential for almost every industry. My long-term view is, even if I'm thinking about lithium batteries, for example, that Elon Musk could have himself a huge interest getting access to his battery packs, which are in the cars, built in, and we know lithium is a very rare material, which is difficult to build in the big enough scale to provide for enough electric cars in the future. So I think that's as well a point, like batteries, lithium, where we can totally help signing these products with a unique QR code and making sure people getting a bounty by returning it. And there are various industries or achievements already in recycling as well, products like that. So I see no boundaries for Recyclium almost in all the industries in the world. But we're starting with the most obvious one, which is as well tangible, and people can grasp it right away and see the problem obviously around them. And
yeah, I do believe that this is one of the main issues that people are actually noticing and looking at what corporations are doing. This is one of the very popular things that actually single-use plastics are contributing majorly to the problem. It seems like you guys will definitely need corporate partnerships in order to, achieve what you're trying to achieve. So what are the advantages for corporations?
I mean, we mentioned a few of them already during the interview right now, but yes, it's true, we are looking for corporate partnerships. That's the key. If we don't get big enough exposure through big enough brands as well, using and supporting the Recyclium technology, it will be a difficult pathway to really make a game changer. And I think the corporate advantages for the big corps is, on one hand, of course, getting the exposure, being the first, taking real responsibility for the products they bring into market, having, of course, the whole marketing and sustainability push which Recyclium partnership brings with it, of course. On the other hand, they having the chance to get really access to their clean and separated raw materials which they are looking for. So a company is deciding which product do I really want back, and for which product am I ready to pay a bounty, and like this incentivizing people to collect it and return it. And whatever this bounty means, it should be an equivalent with the value for the company of what this product really brings them. So the access to the raw material, and important in a separated manner, that's the key, because often trash is collected on a beach, mashed up, as I mentioned, and it's difficult to recycle. So if Coca-Cola gets back 1 ton of plastic bottles which are mixed with different brands and colors, they cannot do anything with it. So what is happening? This product is getting downgraded, and C&A and H&M are building cloths out of it rather than preparing and building a new plastic bottle. And if we do that in a separate manner, which this technology enables, it will be very much easier to work with that goods. On the other hand, of course, it's definitely the most cost-effective way of doing recycling and implementing a bounty system on global scale. As I mentioned as well earlier, this interview, we see this in Germany, the bounty system in Germany with these CRS systems. This is the machines where you put in the bottles and they are scanned and giving you a ticket out. These machines would cost, in a new country to implement from the beginning, millions, if not billions, depending on the countryside, to implement some technology like that. With our technology, all we need is people having mobile phones. So everyone having a mobile phone turns automatically into a CRS system. So we are saving billions by implementing this solution in various places in this world. At the same time, of course, these companies, as I mentioned as well earlier, they need the proof of their achievements. So ESG is getting more tight. In the meantime, 50,000 companies in Middle Europe need to do reports every year for their ESG achievement, where sustainability and circularity is a major topic in it. So while getting this data out of this incredible technology, pushing people to collect their waste and trash, returning it, they of course save money on the other hand by collecting data which is maybe not as tangible and maybe even could be accused as greenwashing in various cases, which we see as well in the media all around the world. So pushing the brand's value on one hand, getting this data, having access to their raw materials, saving money, because in various countries we have these EPR taxations. I'm not sure if you're aware about it. if a producer brings a product onto market, we have to like prepay a few cents per product, per packaging material, to the government or to special certain institutions. And if you can prove as a big corporate that you have produced 1 billion bottles in an area and you took back 500 millions of them, obviously the system needs to be adapted or changed, because you have an undeniable track proof in blockchain that you have taken this bottle out of the environment. So you should be not invoiced with taxations while doing something good. So I believe even the whole topic is at the end of the day cost neutral for many various big companies, and that's why I think that's a lot of corporate advantages for any big or medium-sized company wanting to leave an impact. And at the end of the day, it's the wish having an impact, the wish going for change, and being one of the main drivers, and the reputations of big brands can change that very rapidly. So an implementation of such a technology with the right brand showcasing this to the world will automatically end up in a chain reaction, all the other brands needing them to follow this pathway, because every possible sustainability actions will look silly in comparison with taking real responsibility and taking the own products back out of the system.
Thank you very much.
You're very much welcome.
Some people might also ask, how much will Recyclium actually cost? When we talked about corporations, this is an important one, I believe.
It's a very, very important question. You know, Recyclium is not looking for the most biggest evaluation ever possible in the shortest time. So our aim is building awareness, building corporate contacts, and bringing people and corporates to understand that value of waste is really existent. So at the very beginning, Recyclium has two kind of revenue streams. So Recyclium will take a small fee from the transacted bounties. So if 1 million euros are transacted in terms of bounties to people, we will take like a very small transaction fee to maintain the system, of course, pay the people taking care of these transactions. Similar like you have in a credit card, or when you pay with a debit card, there is a small fee for the transacted value. This will be very small because we don't want to bother people receiving as much bounty as ever possible. And of course, the companies will pay a small license fee for using the technology and getting the data in blockchain used in the long run for ESG reporting. So we will actually sustain and live from license income for the software and for the application, and having a small fee on the transacted volume of bounty. And that's, I think, the first very moment. We are planning, of course, in the long run, getting these fees as low as possible to not block or exploit the system in and of itself. So our vision is building awareness and building this bridge between corporate world, blockchain world, and of course humanity, and build the awareness that people see every bottle lying on the floor is not just waste, it really has its value. Yeah.
Okay, now that we have entered the waters of revenue stream, what do you, Pascal, think about the competition existing in this space right now?
I think there are a few projects, great projects in the world, trying to correlate with ESG standards on one hand. There is a lot of interesting applications, try to make it easier for company collecting data for ESG. There is, of course, bounty systems already in place in certain areas in Africa and India, where trash has been collected like in kilograms or in tons and being awarded with a few cents of a bounty. The problem, what I mentioned earlier today, is that these are incentives which work on the short run. But what happens with that plastics being collected, with that waste being collected, that's the other question. Because it's not separated and it's mashed up, dirty, often filled still with liquids or with seawater, mashed up between different brands, having attached labels on them, different colors, that makes it very difficult to take responsibility as a corporate partner So you try to incentivize someone cleaning that beach, but at the end you burn that waste, which has been happening in various examples, or you downgrade that plastic. So it's a great beginning, but it's not a complete solution. Recyclium is the first technology, I believe, who takes all the different perspectives of the problem in one hand and provides a solution where we really can shift. But it obviously needs as well corporates to be ready to shift and take responsibility in that manner. And I'm looking forward for every other project. I'm happy for each whatever plastic bank systems which existing, each beach cleanup. That's all incredible project. And in our world, when we're speaking about cleaning up the environment, we don't speak about competition. So the problem is big enough, having enough space for various companies doing similar technologies like us. So I would be very happy having more competition on market, so we can achieve our goal of having a clean environment and building this awareness even in shorter time. So there is not really competition, there is rather participants which are helping us to do the same job in a quicker time.
Glad to hear that. I think everything for the world and humanity.
Absolutely.
All right, I think I'm out of my questions actually, Pascal. So I wanted to thank you very much for having this interview with me.
Gladly. Thank you very much for having me, and it was really interesting. Some challenging questions. I hope I could answer all of it, and you can take something out of it.
I hope you guys also took something out of it, and we'll see each other in the next edition of Coffee with Pascal.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.